Hey everyone, welcome to GHT Time where we discuss all things General Hospital. So guys, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you'll know when we drop a new video. And I would say get your tea, get your snacks, put your feet up, and let's get ready to recap this very eventful episode. So this is our daily recap for Tuesday, January 20th. There was a bunch of folks in this episode. Some of the people around, Laura. We had Director Ross, Elizabeth, a follow-up to the Drew and Willow storyline, and a host more. So let's begin. So Lucas and Liz was catching up on the Willow trial, and Lucas kind of just was basically telling Liz that she's a good friend and to Willow, and I think, he thinks that Willow doesn't deserve it. I think deep down Lucas thinks that Willow did it. So they were going on talking about some other things, and then Liz got a phone call, said there was a patient coming in, the patient was not doing well, and that they should be ready. And when time passed, the patient that came in was Drew. So Trina and Kai was at the coffee shop, and they were, doing some lovey-dovey stuff, just giving each other kisses. And Curtis walked in and asked Trina, can he speak to her alone? And Curtis just wanted to bring Trina updated and let Trina know that her mother was going in today to see if she can keep her job. And to actually tell Trina, cut your mother a little bit of slack. And Trina's still upset with her mother. This storyline to me is a little unbelievable because of Trina's age. If Trina was younger, I can probably understand her having this conflicted way. I can understand her not being upset with her mother for lying, but not to this point. All right, her mother's a grown woman. If their marriage broke up, it don't got nothing to do with her. It was something going on with the marriage. If anything, Trina and her mother should have had a talk about, what happened or stuff like that, but not this whole I'm exiling you to the island and we're not speaking. I think that's silly, and they need to kind of move on from this. And her mother needs to kind of get back together and have a better relationship. I know there's Portia haters out there, but for this, I'll give Portia some grace. I feel like she's a grown woman. If her and her marriage broke up, then it broke up. Trina shouldn't be this upset about what's going on. So Ava and Nina were having a conversation, more catch up about Willow's trial. And Ava made a valid point. Ava was kind of just like, let Willow be. Let her figure this out. She will be okay. She's a grown up. Stay out of it. Nina can't help herself. She wants to help her daughter and any means necessary. And there's nothing wrong with that, but Nina got to fall back a little bit. But Ava was just kind of giving her some advice about, letting Willow figure this out, and Nina's probably not going to go for that. So at the coffee shop, Nina and Ava was there, and after their conversation wrapped up, Ava came over and talked to Trina, and they kind of was doing a little catch up. And she said, "Oh, I noticed that you haven't been at the gallery so much recently," and she's thinking it's because of Kai, but it's probably because of Kai and Trina trying to keep their story together about what happened and them being in the house and them playing Scooby-Doo detective trying to find out about Willow, if Willow really shot Drew. So maybe hopefully she'll be back at the gallery actually doing some work. And they did touch base about Ava being at Sidwell's, and Trina was kind of saying to Ava, be careful because she thinks Sidwell is a bad guy. But Ava's no joke, so I think she'll be okay messing with Sidwell. That's actually more of her speed than than some of these other dudes that she's been dating. So it'll be interesting to see as Ava gets closer to Sidwell. Maybe Ava has some other plan in place that I don't know. Who knows what Ava's up to? Why she wants to be over there so much? Why she wants to be with Sidwell? She has her money back, so it can't be about money. So it has to be about something else. So 88 Turner and Sonny had a follow-up conversation where they were talking about, Sonny's concerned that 88 Turner is going to go after Michael. What was really interesting about this conversation, 88 Turner does not believe that Michael did it. She believes that Willow did this, and she was just like, her case got so messed up because that footage got erased or missing, or whatever happened to the footage. We know Brennan got rid of it, but Sonny is trying to convince 88 Turner to just leave it alone. Like, don't bother going after Michael. Just let the case be. But 88 Turner is like, no, I got to do something. I need to, prosecute somebody. And she was like, even if they go after other suspects, everybody has a defense now about Michael after Alexis laid out the blueprint about how he was there, and et cetera, et cetera. We all heard it during the court case. So 88 Turner is still saying that she wants to push through. Sonny is telling her, you need to just leave this where this is at, and we'll see what happens with that. I think she needs to leave it alone. I'm sure people are not going to believe that Michael did this. But on the other hand, I can't do another court case. I mentioned before in a previous video, when they have these court cases, I just fast forward through. They bore me. But we already did a 2-week case with Willow. So we need to kind of just let this one be. Well, we'll see how Michael gets out of the little stickiness that's going on with this. So Portia had to go to the hospital so that she can get if she's going to be able to keep her job. Right now she's on suspension, so Laura and Tracy wanted to meet with her and discuss if she can keep her job, for what she did about the tampering with the results of Heather Weather's test. Stella sees Portia come in, and Stella is just angry, going off on her and stuff like that. And Portia was really like, I don't regret um, doing what she did, like altering those test results. Now, listen, I agree with Portia on this. I don't know, people don't like Portia, but Heather Weather was nutty as a fruitcake. So I'm like, I feel like she was justified in doing what she did to protect Trina. But, she is a doctor, you take an oath, you're not supposed to be altering tests, blah, blah, blah. But Stella need to fall back. Um, that marriage with Curtis was already on the rocks. I know nobody knew, but that is their marriage, okay? And the way she was coming at Portia like that was a bit much. She needed to kind of fall back some and relax. So Portia had to meet with Laura and Tracy and explain why they should give her job back. What happens if a patient comes in and they're concerned that what she didn't pass will affect them. And she made up some valid points. She was like, Drew was blackmailing her, and she still worked on Drew with no problem. Like, I know she was considering snipping a wire and getting rid of him, but she did her job, and she didn't try to hurt him. She was just, she made sure he was fine. And she did say, I did this for my daughter. Now, these two women would be the perfect ones to understand, because Tracy would do anything for her family. She just did anything for her family. She was going to she perjured herself on the stand for Michael until she had to come back and tell the truth. And then Laura, she would do anything for Lulu and Lucky. So these women, if nothing else, they can understand where she was coming from. Now, I'm trying to see, I don't know if Portia's going to get her job back. I think they should just give her a job back, and, this storyline, because Drew is a dog, and she didn't deserve to get blackmailed by him, his dumbness. And I did like that Curtis followed up with Laura later. So while Portia was upstairs talking to Laura and Tracy, Isaiah talked to Stella and kind of was just like, look, I know, the marriage thing, I know you're upset about that, but he was like, their marriage was over already. There was no marriage there. And he actually made some good points, and he asked Stella to fall back. Portia's a good person. He said she was really advocating for her when that whole thing went down with Drew trying to get her fired and all that stuff with Martin and Drew, and how he was just pointing out how Portia was advocating for her to keep her job and that she wouldn't do stuff like that, and etc. And Stella thought about it for a second and was kind of like maybe she was being a little too hard on Portia. So when Portia came back down, she did apologize to Portia. Portia did tell her, even though that her and Curtis is not together anymore, she still loves them as a family. But you know, she's moved on. And then her and Isaiah walked off. I do like her and Isaiah as a couple. I hope that works out. I'm kind of hoping that that baby is Isaiah, so everybody can just kind of cut ties with this whole storyline. And like I was saying, Curtis followed up with Laura. He gave her another instance of how Portia was a good doctor. That Drew asked her to blackmail Michael, and she didn't do it. And you know what? I wish Curtis had went and told Tracy that, because that would have guaranteed that she would have got her job back. Because her looking out for Michael, you know, that's what Tracy cares about, looking out for her family. So I did like that. I do like that the writers are, and I hope they continue on this path of them being cordial to each other, Curtis and Portia, and everybody just goes to their new partners without all of the ridiculous, because it's just ridiculous. I don't want to see that. I want to see the back and forth between Jordan and Portia and Curtis, and let's just clean break everybody and go on about their way. But I'm just glad that he followed up with Laura to help Portia get her job back. So this was just ridiculous, right? So Chase and Michael, and they're discussing this whole thing. It's a follow up from yesterday's episode, and they're discussing the whole thing about Willow, and Michael's just like, yo, she's did this. You know, you're the only one that don't see this, and you know he's going off on Michael, and you know honestly, I think Chase has a little resentment because remember back when Willow was cheating with Michael, he probably still never got over that. That's probably why he's doing this, right? But he's just convinced that Michael is the bad guy, blah, blah, blah. But that thing that Michael said about him wanting to get back in Willow's bed, you know what? A little piece of him way back somewhere is probably thinking that. But you already see the breadcrumbs have been laid. This storyline is done. That lady is gonna be over there, Willow. She's gonna be over there messing with mess with Chase. She's gonna be doing sabotage up in the marriage, and this wonderful person Chase is gonna be all up in there, believing her tears and all types of nonsense. So we already know where this is going. Let me look around for Brooklyn's new husband, boyfriend. Dante's free. There's a few men in town that are free. So we need to start looking for Brooklyn's follow-up husband, because this dude is going to be out of there. He is just being straight ridiculous. So on top of everything else, they got Chase looking straight dumb. They wind up punching Michael in the face after Michael made that comment about him wanting to sleep with Willow, even though we know that's probably in the back of his brain somewhere. So he's in the Quartermain's house fighting Michael. Yeah, they need to start looking for a new place to live, him in Brooklyn. And I feel bad for Brooklyn because she's gonna move out for what? You know, like this is not going anywhere. But anyway, like I said, I think this is their days as a husband and wife are numbered. So the episode started out pretty good. You know, Jason and Britt were kind of kikiing up with each other, and you know she asked Jason out on a date, and Jason said yes. So they are going out on a little date, and everything was good. Britt's happy, Jason's smiling, and then the Brit is sitting there doing work, and the director Collins comes in, right? So director Ross, I don't. This man's name is eluding me. The new director of WSB, comes in, starts threatening Brit, telling her that she's gonna go move to Spoon Island and do her research. This is the dumbest thing. I don't understand why they're trying to take this woman away and drop her somewhere. People are gonna ask questions. You don't think her mother's gonna be like, "Where did she go this time?" Jason, right? Jason's gonna be like, "Where did she go?" So, you know, it's time for Britt to go and ask for some help. You know, she tells her friend, I forgot his name, the little wormy guy. She told him everything. And then she doesn't tell Jason. Jason can actually help her. He was like, okay, you know what? Let me get this medication. I can send it off to somebody. We'll see what it is. He actually has skills, right? He can help her maneuver through these people. He knows people. Tell him what's going on. She won't tell him what's going on. I don't understand it. You know, I just don't understand why she won't tell him. She told Brad, but she didn't tell Jason. Okay, whatever. Maybe after this date, or maybe before she leaves to go to Spoon Island, she'll inform Jason on what's going on, but she needs to tell somebody quick because they can maybe lock her away, and once she's done with that research, they're gonna kill her. So she needs to go ahead and get some help really fast. Matter of fact, she should have told her mother. Her mother is no joke either. Okay, guys, I think Willow is a black widow because this girl right here, this is the aftermath of stabbing Drew in his neck with that syringe. Now we know what that syringe was for, right? So she goes, she calls her mother, she says, oh, something happened to Drew. So Nina runs to the hospital. They get to the hospital. Liz asks Willow what happened, and she's going through this thing, and she's just like, oh, well, he drank a little bit, and then all of a sudden his speech got slurred, and his face got this way, and blah, blah, blah. So Drew is up in ICU, critical condition, and Lucas comes out and says, look, it's bad. He may not regain his faculties because he seems like he had a massive stroke. So, oh no. So Willow is putting on the grieving wife syndrome to the 100th power, and Nina's hugging her and stuff like that. But what's really funny was Kai look on his face when he looked over at Willow with that side eye. So so Kai is looking at her like, is this real? Did she really try to kill him, this guy again? But here goes the thing. Kai better be careful, okay? Because if that Willow gets any inkling that this boy knows anything, she may try to kill Kai. So I'm just like, he needs to be quiet. Go over there, act like you don't know nothing. Because right now, I don't know what Willow is doing. It seems like she is spiraling. We're gonna see if it's just a Drew thing or if she's really gonna go off the rails. Um, Tracy was there, and Tracy was kind of like, I'm staying because he's my nephew, but I don't think she's really concerned about him, especially after what he did to Ned. So he's getting his comeuppance like 1,000-fold. It's gonna be interesting to see. There was a spoiler going around that somebody dies, so maybe it is Drew. Maybe they're finally writing him off. Maybe everybody's complaints have finally gotten to them. I'm shocked they didn't try to redeem this character early on, but we'll see what happens. Now, when it comes to these kind of storylines, my only concern is that they may write Willow into a corner so much that she might be the next one that has to go because they can make somebody so annoying that people are just like, ugh. But I think if you keep it just to Drew, I don't know. People might not be concerned that much that she's doing all this to him. We'll see what happens. So guys, thank you again for joining me for GA's Tea Time, and don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification. We upload a video daily and we do some throwback recaps and some other fun stuff. So definitely hit that bell notification so you can keep up to date when we drop our next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.